Hello everyone, it's Leo, and today we are going to talk about episode 37 from Healing Good PreCure. This was a different episode than I was expecting. I thought that this episode was going to start a little drama and then take this little drama to the end of the season. But no, it started the drama and it kind of finished and resolved the drama in the same episode. So let's talk about it. First thing, let's talk about Tatine. Tatine was a character that we knew that was going to appear in episode 37. And because of this appearance, we also know how many episodes Healing Good will probably have until the end of the season. If you want to know what I'm talking about, I'm going to leave a video in the description box in which we discussed what happened with Tatine's voice actor, who talked about her experience briefly in working in episode 37 and what that meant for Healing Good, etc. But let's focus on what matters to us right now in terms of her participation in this episode. It's been a while since we saw the Healing Garden, and it was great seeing the Healing Garden again. Finally, it was brief, but it was interesting. So this scene with the Healing Garden, I think it's important because it shows that the Healing Garden in general, like the environment and the healing animals, were very weak after King Byogen's attack. We know King Byogen attacked right before Healing Good started, and he fought against Tatine, and she, after this fight, she became very weak, and she sent Latte and the other 3 healing animals to Earth so that Healing Good could start. And what happens is that we see, and she talks about some things that are interesting that I didn't even notice before. She left the spot she usually is with the statue, and she goes to see the other healing animals who are also recovering. And when she arrives there, one of the healing animals tells her, "You're here, thank you. This means you're getting better." And she says, "I am getting better now. I can finally walk." So she was so weak that she could barely leave the spot she was in. She was lying there, So now that the PreCures have been active and they have been treating the Earth actively, things are getting better in the Healing Garden as well. And the healing animals, they talk about the cures here on Earth. They mention the healing animals that are here as well. They're thankful for their work and everything. And I'm kind of curious because there are so many healing animals. And one thing that I find curious is that at least the lion and the tiger ones, they're huge, they have armor, so they're like warriors. Don't they also have a PreCure partner? Because Tatine is the only one that we know that had one in the past, the original Cure Earth. And was she the only one? We have never had other healing animals with other PreCures, because those 2 healing animals specifically, they seem to be super strong. They seem to be super powerful. And didn't they have a partner as well? What happened? Why didn't they have a partner or anything? I don't think Healing Good will go there. I don't think Healing Good will discuss that. But I just wanted to mention. So we start the episode with Asumi getting a job, a side job probably. And I find it very funny. I hope Asumi is getting paid in this job. She's helping a manju store, and I really hope she's getting paid because PreCure has this problem of putting the girls to work without actually paying them. Come on, PreCure. And one thing I found very funny, and I even commented with a friend when I was watching this episode, was like, the flavors of those manjus. What is going on? What are you doing, Asumi? But the most important thing is the healing animals. This episode was basically all about them. They go on a field trip with Latte, and they take her to, enjoy autumn a little bit. And I think that this episode was very educational in a sense, because it shows how environment can be hurt by people that go to the fields, And so we had this scene with lots of trash and the leaf element being very sad because of all the trash, but then being very happy as well because there's a big team of people in Tokoyaka City that helps the environment. And we can see, I think that it sends this message, don't throw trash in the ground. And also another message that you can help the environment in a way too. And then I this scene here was amazing because we saw each of the girls' vision of the other and their drawing skills. Nodoka's drawing skill when drawing Hinata was adorable. Hinata drawing Chiyu with a little manju on the side. But obviously Chiyu was the one who rocked. She is super, super talented. Chiyu girl, I love you so much. But I think that the most important thing, or the most interesting thing, it's not important at all, but the most interesting thing about this was this scene with Hinata, because Chiyu was like kind of scolding her by saying, there's no manju here. You have to draw exactly what you see, blah, blah, blah. And Hinata was like, girl, where is the imagination? And she's like, oh, you're talking about inspiration and such, but like, Star Twinkle much? I loved this scene so much. But obviously, best drawing, obviously goes to my girl, Rabirin. She rocked the flower element in the Lavendaruma style. Girl, you are talented and brilliant. She was like super proud of her drawing, and I was like, you go, Rabirin. Your drawing is definitely the best. I loved this so much. You guys have absolutely no idea. This was the best scene of this episode for me. Definitely the best scene. And we also then had the villains. We had a back and forth between Shindoine and Guairu. Guairu was like, I'm reading a very hard book. You're probably not going to be able to read it. It's a very academic book. The words are very hard. And she's like, let me check it out. And then when she goes to check it out, it's this. Full of muscles. Like, what? Guairu, what are you doing? You're looking for poses? I want to see Guairu like this. Guairu, take off your... Okay. One thing I really need to mention about this episode is the backgrounds, especially when they were watching the harvests. God, what beautiful backgrounds. I really think that they really passed that autumn feel. And I am in a country that doesn't actually have autumn. Here in Brazil, we basically have summer and winter. And so there isn't a big difference in autumn and spring, honestly. And then this this like orange feel to it doesn't exist here. And I find it very, very beautiful. I find it very, very beautiful. And I liked seeing that in this episode. Also, Healing Good never disappoints when it comes to dads. Never disappoints. Thank you, Healing Good. It was adorable seeing this man helping Rabirin and also teaching a little bit of wild animals. Again, this is another thing that kind of felt very educational about this episode. Teaching about healing animals. And then this scene right here was the one that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I feel like one thing that I thought that it was going to be the main thing, which kind of was the main thing about this episode, was the fact that there's going to come to a point in which the healing animals won't have to be there anymore. They won't have to be on Earth anymore. They will probably have to return to the healing garden because they would have finished their jobs at healing. And so they will leave the girls. They won't be by the girls' sides anymore. And they all said how important it was to meet the girls, how their lives changed after they met Nodoka, Chiyu, and Hinata. And so I thought that this was going to be something that was going to be resolved at the end of the season. Like they would start now and they would take up until the end. But this was resolved. Everything was resolved in this episode, basically. And, I liked it, but also Daruizen used it to go against them. Daruizen looks at them and says, well, you just don't have to heal anymore. And so you don't have to fulfill your duties. If you don't fulfill your duties, you can stay with the girls. You'll be able to stay here forever. There is a way of not going through that. And I felt like the conclusion of that was, it wasn't in the fight, but I'm gonna talk about it now. The healing animals, they had this wish of staying with the girls, but they have this mission of healing the earth, right? So what do you put first? Your mission or your will? Your mission or what you want to do? Your mission or your feelings? And so obviously the mission is important for them, but it was clear in this episode that the priority of themselves was being with the girls. Like, this was the most important thing for the healing animals. But when it came to the fight, they prioritized the healing part. I mean, their mission was the most important thing for them. And honestly, I think that that was really nice. But at the same time, I felt like it was a narrative choice by showing people the mission is the most important thing. What you have to do is the most important thing. Like, you need to put it in front of your feelings. And I don't think it works like this for lots of instances in life. But in this case, I mean, they can't have another choice. Like, they need to choose this. But I felt like it was kind of like this debate, what you want to do and what you have to do. What are you going to choose? And obviously, they chose being stronger to fight against everything and heal things. That was their choice in the fight. And the fight, it was okay. It was nothing special. We have the girls using some bottles. We obviously had Tiu using the ice bottle too. And one thing that I thought this needs to appear in this episode was the harvest bottle from Cure Grace. And it did appear. She created like this big pink beam. Nothing special, but it did appear because there was a lot of talk about harvest in this episode. It was harvest season. And the most important thing about this fight was the big shield that the healing animals did with their own will, with their own emotions. And like, it created that big shield that kind of defeated the Jigabyogen, and that they were able to use their final attack and finish it. So I guess that I feel like this episode had this very important thing about the healing animals deciding their future, maybe sealing their fates. And at the end of the episode, they decide to stay. Not this one. They decide to stay. They decide that next year they will go with the Cures to see the autumn and everything else, because in this episode they weren't able to. And they decide to fight very strongly to be able to heal everything and to be able to create a place in which they can come back to Earth and go with the girls. So basically, I think that what it means is that they're going to try their best in their healing job so that they create this big connection between Earth and the healing garden, so that they can come back every time they want to see the girls. And it was basically resolved. Like, they even told the girls this at the end of the episode, and the girls were like, that's great. Where are we going to go? And each of the healing animals, said something. Each of the healing animals talked about something, that someplace they want to go. I feel like they're all very different from each other, and this episode highlighted that quite nicely. And another thing, very important thing, Teatsinu and the other healing animals in the healing garden, the strong ones, they said that they're coming to Earth. Teatsinu was like, just you wait, we're coming. Oh my god, are they gonna fight alongside the Cures in the final battle? Wow, I got very curious about this. I got very, very curious about this. I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. Because I'm super, super hyped to see Teatsinu again, because we barely see her. I think she is amazing. I think she's everything. Teatsinu, please, girl, come on. Show a little bit of yourself more for us. Anyways, that was my view on episode 37. Just as a piece of trivia, we have the lion and the tiger in the healing garden. The lion has the same voice actor as Hinata's dad, and the tiger has the same voice actor as Chiyo's dad. The dads are becoming healing animals. Interesting. And, another thing that I really need to highlight, this episode also brought a very nice daddy for us. Yeah, I liked that man. He was a fine, kind, strong man. But overall, I feel like episode 37, I enjoyed it, but I feel like the first half, the pacing of the first half wasn't really there for me. It's one of those episodes in which you just, sit down and chill and let the episode guide you. And the first half was very chill and everything. And I'm craving for some more emotion, which I think I'll get in the next episode, episode 38, which is going to be Chiyu's episode. And, Chiyu is my favorite from Healin Good, and I'm super excited to see her conclusion. This is probably her final episode. The final arc of Chiyu is going to be in episode 38. And an interesting thing about that is that after that, I believe we're getting the episodes from the other girls as well. And I'm very curious if Asumi is going to have an episode of her own, which was another problem of episode 37. Again, Latte completely forgotten in the barbecue, as we say here in Brazil. Esquecida no churrasco, completely forgotten in the barbecue. They don't even remember she exists. She is just there to be the little princess and being helped by everyone else. She really deserved a moment with the healing animals, philosophing about the future, thinking about the future. How is the future going to be for her? How things changed for her after meeting Asumi, because we never see her sharing her feelings over that. And she did a little sad face, and that was it. That was it. I mean, she could have a little bit more. I'm desperate with this because Latte deserves better. Latte really, really deserves better, in my opinion. And I feel like sometimes they're just not giving it to her, and they just don't really care much about it. And Latte's connection with Asumi at this point, for me, it doesn't mean anything anymore for Healing Good. It doesn't mean anything. It's really, really completely different than the rest of the girls, and it feels very one-sided. Asumi to Latte. And that's it. That's it. Latte girl, you deserved better. You really deserved better. Anyways, that was my opinion on episode 37. I just want to take this little time to thank all of the members of the Magical Cinema channel. If you are a member, thank you so much for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it. I'm very happy that you support Magical Cinema, and I'm very happy that you are someone who believes in Magical Cinema. So thank you very much. And if you've watched up to now, thank you very much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Bye-bye.